each one of you. My apologies for starting this series a little late. But yes, wishing all of you a very happy Navratri. May this festival give you the spirit to embrace the inner transformation, celebrate the triumph of the good over the evil, and nurture the divine qualities within yourself. On this auspicious 8th day of Navratri, we honor Ma Mahagauri, the embodiment of purity, grace, and nurturing the strength. Just as Ma Mahagauri nurtures with her divine energy, at Mentor My Board, we embody a similar spirit in fostering and nurturing the board leaders on their governance journey. With a foundation of over 90 plus experienced mentors, we provide personalized guidance to the directors, helping them refine their strategic thinking, governance frameworks, and leadership skills. Our seasoned mentors bring a wealth of knowledge from their diverse industries, allowing board members to apply these strategies in the real world corporate scenarios with precision and insights. At Mentor My Board, it's a platform and not only a learning platform, it is a community where business leaders and the board members can connect, collaborate, and grow together through the thoughtfully curated networking events, the forums, the sessions, and the seminars we conduct. We facilitate opportunities for meaningful dialogues and share the learnings, enriching the boardroom ecosystem and the experiences that you gain in the spirit of Ma Mahagauri's nurturing experience, the nurturing presence that she has, we are committed to empowering today's and the tomorrow's leaders, ensuring that each one is well equipped to lead with wisdom, grace, and integrity. This member spotlight series in particular is a celebration of these journeys. It highlights how, with the right mentorship, directors can transform into impactful governance leaders who steer their organizations towards the sustainable growth and success. Let us take a moment to honor the nurturing spirit that derives our work at Mentor My Board and celebrate the immense value that mentorship and collaboration brings to the world of the corporate governance. And with this in mind, let me welcome our member today, Mr. P. Ramaswamy, who is the co founder and director at Hi5 Youth Foundation with 3 decades of rich experience in the IT industry. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Ramaswamy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Neha. I'm indeed honored to be here as part of this illustrious panel of mentors and directors. And yes, I would like to reciprocate that. Yes, I wish you a very happy Navratri to you and to all the listeners on this particular channel. And at the same time, there is a sad note for us corporates with the passing away of Sri Ratan Tata ji. So I think he deserves a salute, if not more. So with that, I think probably we can start off the day's proceedings. Yes, it's been a wonderful journey for me in the corporate world, as well as now in the new role where I've taken on an role of uplifting certain segment of our society and transforming their lives in a different way. So this has been a very interesting and rewarding, challenging. So all the mix of all the emotions, as well as the yeah, in fact, I've been in part of business development and relationship management with clients, customers. You don't win always, so there are jubilant occasions. At the same time, there are those despairs. So, but that's okay, that's all part of the game, and we need to take it in a stride and move forward. And so we win or we learn. So it's that way. I mean, it's we don't lose. We either we win or we learn, because there's a lesson, and that's important that we don't miss out on the lessons.
Wonderful. So true. So, let me start off with understanding your ancient wisdom from the Chanakya Arthashastra with the modern corporate strategies, and how is it that you apply these unique approaches in the leadership development and the business consulting that you do for the corporates and for the leaders?
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I have a small objection to the word ancient wisdom. So the documentation, the doctrines are ancient, yes. The wisdom is eternal,
Hmm.
which means, even after several thousands of years, we can actually apply these principles and strategies that have been, we call them the sutras. There are some 6,000 plus sutras in the Kautilya Shastra, and each one is like a formula on various occasions and depending on the context that has to be used. It's a complete near strategy document on, uh, vanquishing your competition, or ensuring that, you take care of your and it is applicable across. It was built for a kingdom, and to take care of it. And there has been these seven pillars of a kingdom, right, as we call it, a Saptanga model in Kautilya's Shastra, which is the Swami, Amatya, Janpata, Durga, Doshaka, Danda, and Mitra. And kosher is very important because kosher is the finances. I mean, everything starts and ends with the kosher. So. So what happens is, if you look at it at any organization, there are these typical seven limbs that you can map it with the Saptanga model, and how efficiently you deal with each one of them. So
Hmm.
each of these limbs have to be equally and highly efficient, and then you integrate them to make a very very successful corporate venture, or an organization, as you would say. And so having these set in mind, I mean, this leads for you to become a, what do you call as a Vijikishu, which is a you can say the conqueror, or the Rajarishi, as you say. So
Hmm.
these are some aspects of thing. Though the point is, being in India, the advantage is we live a lot of these philosophies without actually knowing it, and at the same time, once we know about it, then it becomes much more. You consciously apply it on your day-to-day aspects and strategies, and move it forward. Uh, One of the things also Kautila shares talks about Vriddha Sayoga. Okay, now Vriddha actually means, people say old. No, it's not a direct translation of old. It is more of seniority, wisdom, wise people. So you need to be in the association of wise people to ensure that, whatever challenges that you face today can actually be given. They may not actually solve the problems, but they may give you some insights. They may ask you some right questions, and you are there to find. You can look out for your own typical answers and things like that. Similarly, if you look at the business consulting model, or the business consulting business as we see it, typically the consulting requirement comes because they want to, the customer, the client, whoever, they are in the lookout for enhancing efficiency, enhancing market share,
Hmm.
enhancing their cash flow statements, uh, or any other specific advantages that they do want to devise, because probably they've tried something and they need to uh, uh, get better
Or they
results
seek your
out of it. Yeah,
expertise or guidance.
yeah, yeah. So, so that is where it comes from. And when we're talking about uh, leadership, I think one of the first things that we need to give our teams and people is that the freedom to do business.
Hmm. Very
Right.
important.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, they need to analyze, they need to realize, and ensure that, okay, if this has to be done, what is it? It's when you're a rookie and you join an organization, you're running around doing sales, but you do sales, but you don't realize the business. And sometimes you're upset because your bosses have refused to accept a deal. You
Hmm.
know, yeah. So that is a growth that one needs to step up in, and saying that you have the freedom to do the business. You just check on the profitability, and
True.
yeah, you're getting it done. And there has to be inherent desire to make uh, well-informed decisions,
Hmm.
right? And most of the time, when we come to business analysis, when you want to get closer to the client, I think you need to get under the skin of the client and understand his pains, and that is the only way then you can actually come out with some a practical real life solutions that will actually help your client customers. It could be internal customers, it could be external customers, and the world is. Yours.
Wonderful. I think
Yes.
you've touched upon two or three very, very important points, as in employees should be allowed to fail and learn from the failure so that they can grow in their career path as well. The second being that, yes, you need to understand the pain points of your client and then give a customized solution, because that is what is the need of today's business evolving in this VUCA world, what we say. So, very true, because every person's problem is different. May you be in the same industry, but when your business is operating in one certain scale of growth, or the growth that your company is envisioning, so it becomes really challenging, and you need those customized solutions or those customized advice for you. And you've touched upon that point really, really well. And this also kind of reminds me of our mentor, Mr. Anil Sharma, who really very well takes you can say an emblended idea of what corporate governance is and what the Kautilya's Arthashastra means, and he presents a very well blended strategy that comes out well. So yes, that reminded me of Mr. Anil Sharma, our mentor as well. And yes, because you have this kind of a rich experience of around 3 decades, where you've been consulting businesses, where you've been solution selling basically, and project management for your clients. So how has your experience been in these fields, and how has the IT industry evolved basically? So if you can throw some light on that.
Sure, sure. Uh, I entered the IT industry in about 1989, and probably it was Neanderthal or whatever that kind of yeah, age you can say. Of course, we talk about IT industry, we talk about software industry, etc. But essentially, at that time, there was one computer industry. Then you had a hardware giant who would give a hardware and a COBOL or a C compiler and some programmers to do it and things like that. So it was one computer industry. It had not yet split into hardware and software,
Yeah.
but that's when there was a big paradigm change, and I joined this very exciting organization called Mastic, promoted by Ashang Desai of the IIT fame. Uh, so that was a paradigm shift in the sense that he started something only software services, which was which was beyond hardware, software. It's more of humanware. I mean, that's the yeah, that's what was being offered
And
by
this is an interesting concept, and if you can elaborate a little more on what is humanware.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, what we're talking about when you talk about the hardware is the physical aspect of the computing system where you can touch things. All those are hardware. The processing that happens behind is a software, and the power that makes those software work and make the hardware run is the humanware.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. So again, in software, you have the system software and the application software, and then you talk about the application software, which is actually programmed by these geniuses and with amazing logics and built-in processes, etc., and services. So it's an amazing. So that was the time when we came in when we were talking about COBOL and C and other things, and that was the advent of relational database management systems. Because today we just talk about give me an Oracle, give me a Unify, or give me any other SQL Server database system. But there was a time when I was actually selling an RDBMS platform, trying to sell the concept of RDBMS, trying to compare it or over it with COBOL and C and DBase and other things that came up. So it was a concept selling approach, and now it has become more of a product. So it's a default that yeah, a SQL Server comes along with all your hardware, or you buy an Oracle software and take it. And even the programming languages, you talk about 2GL, 3GL, 4GL. Today we're talking about graphics, and we're talking about coming up to the AI and things like that. So it's a different. The whole thing is moving, and it is and at every passing phase, the pace of change is rapidly increasing. So that also is happening. And of course, the AI is really the GPTs of the world have it's a totally disruptive technology, as we say. Everything disrupts the earlier way of doing things.
Very.
One thing which doesn't change much is the reluctance of the people to change. Right?
Hmm.
People will resist change even if it's good for them. because it's a change. The change is unpleasant. So that's one aspect of it. One of the earlier things which I learned is my boss asked me, he said, would you like to have uh, 3 years experience in 5 years or 5 years experience in 2 years?
Oh,
Now,
wonderful.
yeah. So
What
it's
an
it's like,
option to give to your employees, isn't it?
exactly, exactly. So talking about 3 decades of experience. Okay, he's got 3 decades. That is the timeline ever since you started working, and then the time today. So you're talking about 3 decades. But the point is, when you're talking about relationship management, business development, and for these kind of activities, if I meet one client, one prospect a day, then I'm talking about maybe I meet 250 people in a year,
Hmm.
right? And if I do two, then it is 500.
Oh, yes.
Right. I mean, if you so the point is, can I do more in the less amount of time? Then the more people you meet, the more diverse people you meet, the more who have different motivations. They come from a total social economic background. They come from a different industries, and each industry has got its own compulsions and limitations and requirements. So all that put together, the one shoe doesn't fit all when you talk about a solutioning to a
Very
customer. Each one is unique. Each one has a unique set of requirements and issues, and we need to ensure that. So that is what you say. So if you talk about 3 decades of experience, I think I have more than 3 decades of experience going by this. And then, of course, the leadership qualities that one needs to dedicate. Take it on yourself and I get it implemented, get it done, and that has helped me. I mean, it has put me in good stead actually. And one of the things again you're talking about when you're talking about relationship management and all that, I just believe in one word thing, that the client will buy from you if he likes your face.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, like your face doesn't mean you look great and you send a film celebrity. No, it's not like that. It's like how you present yourself. How do you conduct yourself during any of these interactions that you have, the meetings, the presentations, and negotiations as well? And are in fact, on that point, when you're touching that point, I'd like to right now apologize for that slight delay that I did. But when a person likes your face, you like it because he's on time. He says 10 o'clock, okay, 10 o'clock is dot, he's there. He says he'll present 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So when he likes your face, and then you have a develop a rapport with the gentleman, you get to go a little beyond office only, right? That's when a lot of things starts moving for you actually.
True, true,
Yeah.
true. And while you said that change, is really unpleasant, but the change is the only constant, is what we've been hearing since
Absolutely,
ages.
absolutely. In fact, the IT industry, the consulting industry itself is dependent on the willingness to change, basically.
Very true. And while we are getting accustomed to the new technologies, to the chat GPTs, to to all these things, there are liquid. I yesterday read about liquid AI, which is making a debut, and these are LFM based models that seem to outperform all these uh,
Right.
chat GPTs that have been developed till date. So there is so much to learn, there is so much to explore each day, and you don't know at what pace the world is going where. So it's kind of a mystery, but it's
Yeah,
still the best one because we are exploring it the first hand. So yes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Also, the IT industry, if you take, I mean, the base core of it is the data that gets captured into your computing systems. But that that's not it. I mean, the data gets translated into some kind of information, because once you consolidate it, okay, you sold 1,000 items in a day. So how many have you sold in a month? So it's sort of information that gets collected: what packaging, what size, blah blah blah. Well, the whole work, the dimensions of the product that has got sold. Once you and then from which geographies do have you got those? So when you put all these information together, there is the knowledge space that is coming up. Okay. So then that will flow down information going back to what should be your strategy for a particular product, for a geography, or for a pricing point, or for a vertical and things like that. And when once and when you start implementing it and taste success, probably that's the wisdom that we talk about. That so how the data gets elevated to a level of wisdom over a period of time, and with proper analysis of the data, for the core data. So
Very true.
yeah,
So
so
true.
that's where all these OLTPs and OLAPs and slicing and dicing and scrubbing and We use all these words and jargons in this IT industry. But yes, that is a play for all these people, because key information is key. Without information, no business can take any decisions. I mean, it's like shooting in the dark.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. And with this, when we have learned that, it is so fast paced, so evolving, what are those certain strategies that you would kind of recommend to stay ahead in this competitive world and the fast paced environments, especially for the senior leaders and the senior managers or the directors of boards? So, what are those strategies that they can apply, maybe?
Okay, in my personal experience, I've seen many of managers are pretty dynamic. They are open to new ideas. They're open to exploring new technologies, things like that. And there are many of them who are, you know, I've been doing this for so long and it has worked very well for me. What is the need for change? I know things will still work. I mean, those. So there are two schools of thoughts. Uh, but as the saying goes, no, I mean, if you do continue to do things the same way, the results are not going to be very different,
True. Very
right? Yeah, you need to change the way you do things, and probably yes, that's when the and today in this dynamic age of social media, I mean, information like this crosses, and probably by the end of the next day, about 300 million Indians have got the information that is required. You know,
true.
yeah, I mean, so internet is a very powerful tool which should be utilized in a very, very what do you say, legitimate manner, and ensure that, and we need to be open. That's the key. I think each one of us should be open that yes, there is a possibilities of things keeping happening. While I'm saying technology will keep changing and it will help us do things faster, increase efficiencies and things like that. I think the core one is to one relationship in terms of business, what needs to be done, does remain the same. This is only a, like, for example, earlier we used to go and talk a lot, and then later we started having tools to make presentations and slide projectors and things like that. We've gone through those phases. Now we have the presentations and of course the AI GPT, which helps us create more dynamic presentations and things. So it's the presentation layer that have, whereas I don't think the buying behavior has changed.
True.
If,
Very
if a
true.
client has a budget to buy something, he's going to do a thorough evaluation. So that aspect of the sales cycle doesn't change. So
Right. Right.
yeah, so you can be fancy in your presentation skills, but the core connect needs to be there with the customer. The customer has to feel confident that you have understood his business requirements, you have understood his pain points, and you are making efforts to address them. In your solution, you are addressing them. You are telling them yes, your efficiency can go up by 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever it is. I mean, this is what it is. You're going to reduce the head count, which is your overheads that you're worried about. So whatever it is, whatever is the pain point that is talking about, that gets addressed. That is the core that will not change.
Wonderful. I think you've just hit the nail at the right place. And I totally agree when you say that the core doesn't change. It is just the outer packaging,
But it-
maybe, that changes, and the way you present things does change with time, definitely, and with people around you. But the core of sales or the core of, buying and selling will not change. With this, I also wanted to quickly understand from you. You emphasize a lot on the importance of right thinking, bold decisions, and enthusiasm, and in achieving a work life balance. Now, having heard this work life balance, the immediate trigger point is Mr. Narayan Murthy, who made a statement of, maybe 70
72
hours of
hours.
work. And then there was a roar and up, and netizens commenting on it. But having said this, it is really important to have the work life balance, and still, when you're working, it is equally important to put in all your efforts, because the world has become so competitive, and it is not a closed door world anymore. Now it is world at large. So
Yeah,
how do you
absolutely.
see those things, and how do you kind of relate to those things? Or
Okay, when you
maybe
talk,
what are those principles that have helped you succeed, so that you can pass on some of its to the audience who is viewing it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, there's this Sanskrit phrase which says manasa vacha karmana.
Mhm.
Okay, so manasa is what is there in your mind. Vacha is the words that you and karmana is your deeds or actions that you talk about.
Correct.
So yeah, so the point is idle man is devil's workshop, right? So the thought that comes in depends on what is the frame of mind that you have and what is it. So I think there has to be consistent and continuous purpose in life.
Very important. True.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what happens is whatever you are thinking or whatever you're doing is in the same direction as your purpose. If it is not, then it is a negative thought, or you're thinking destructive, or you're thinking, in a very different manner. So Manasa Vacha, if you what you think is right or good or positive, then your words will also be following the same pattern. And so there'll be consistency in what you're thinking and what you're speaking, and the consistency in what you're doing in terms of actions also. So
True.
that's one aspect of the right thinking, bold decisions that you are taking. Once you know that you are on the right track and what you've done earlier is correct, you are now more confident and you take bold decisions, and you're not afraid to fail because your thinking is right. Right?
True.
It may work in some circumstances or with some people, it may not work with some circumstances. That's absolutely fine. But the point is, you're thinking in the right direction and you're going the right path. That's the key. And one of the things that I would like to add, earlier I used to insist that the young rookies who join the corporate world from the campuses and things like that, I would say your knowledge would be less. So at this point juncture, you need to show a lot of enthusiasm,
Enthusiasm. Exactly.
right? So while your knowledge and experience is on the lower side, keep your enthusiasm high. That will help you learn. That will help you perform. That will be contagious, and that will be noticed, right?
Very, very
That
true.
is yeah. So that is one aspect of thing that which I used to guide the young mind, saying that be enthusiastic, be eager to learn, be eager to do. Don't with that. The first 3 years, that's what I say. The first 3 years, when you join a corporate world, it is very, very key for you because
Very,
after you show your enthusiasm, probably becomes a habit, and probably you want to carry it on for the rest of your career and wherever you go. And in that sense, I coined a small phrase which says 22 plus 3 is equal to, any idea? I'm saying 50. You'll wonder, 22 plus 3 is 50. Yes, I mean, probably when you do your MBA, you're 22 or something. You add 3 years of enthusiastic output in anything, in any organization industry that you've grown, it will last you for the next 50 years.
wonderful. I think you become a sponge where you absorb as much as you can at that point of time, and then what reflects or what comes out, after those 3 years of experience is a completely different
Okay.
person the world will value for. So
Exactly.
totally
Exactly.
agree when you say 22 plus 3 is equal to 50. Wonderful, wonderful. uh,
Another aspect is when you talk about work-life balances. Okay, that's actually an individual choice. That is number one. Whether he wants to, or he just wants to be a workaholic, or he wants to be a whatever. But organizations should encourage that people have a work-life balance because individuals, maybe especially in India, are confused. Let me be right. I mean, they are they want to satisfy their family or they want to satisfy their boss. That's a big dichotomy over here. And in that sense, I would request, suggest, advise, or suggest rather that even organizations should have functions or events where the entire family gets involved.
right.
Right. It need not be that okay. There's a big bash and there's only the employees over there.
Hmm.
I think we should rope in all the people because if people are performing and doing well in the organization, there's a family which is responsible for it. Who sacrificed not having him around, especially in IT and IT projects. I'm telling you, people go home at 10 o'clock and the next morning 6 o'clock they're back and on the project. Of course, these are no not always, but yes, there are some delivery time, delivery periods, and things like that. So if there is an event, an organization at some periodic, maybe annually, biannually, etc., where you can mingle that family.
Yeah.
The family comes to know what the organization is all about, the value that organization also thinks. That could be a setup. It could take care of that. So
It's a wonderful thought, I think. Wonderful thought, because many a times, you know that you are making those sacrifices for your family. Your family knows that these
yeah,
sacrifices are for them, but then it is just the communication, it is just the bonding that gets missing somewhere at some times, and that is the root cause of a whole lot of problems, issues,
Yeah.
communications, so on and so forth.
Correct,
But then,
correct, correct.
yes, this is really good to have those, the companies who are calling in for the families and, having a good amount of healthy conversation with the families as well. And I
Yeah.
remember here that Miss Indra Nui, she is known for this, where she always values the employees and as well as the families of those employees. And she is a person whom we have looked upon to, because we've seen her writing letters to the families of the employees, wherein praising them for the
Uh,
dedication that the employees show in the organization. So
correct, correct.
truly respect her for that and agree to what you're saying.
Yeah.
With this, I come to my last question, and I want to understand from you. So, Mentor My Board aims to build a support system, a community for directors, right? In what ways do you feel, a strong peer network can enhance the decision making abilities for those corporate leaders, and how has this played an important part in your career, maybe?
Okay. At any given point in time, actually, is a time for collaboration rather than competition.
Wonderful, true.
Okay. So, irrespective of all the members here at MMB or otherwise, I think uh, if we are looking like, okay, let me put it this way. In fact, one of the questions that you are also asked about young minds. Okay. So I used to tell the students, when you are in your B school and I do a visiting, I'm a visiting faculty in few B schools around here. So I say, when I give you a project, a team, six of you or seven of you, and each one of doing, can each one of you ensure that what you contribute to your team or to your project is the best, right? So if each one of you are going to contribute, you eat the work. There's a work breakdown which has a structure. You have a small portion of the entire project, but whatever you will do the best. You go at all lengths and get it done. So if all the six of you or 10 of you do that, then you got a best project that is going to come out over here, right? Similarly, if your best project, if so, as a team, you said my project, I will be the best person in my project team. My project will be probably the best project in my organization. Okay, my organization should be the best organization in the industry.
Industry. Wonderful, wonderful.
Can my industry be the best industry in the economy of the country? I mean, so every individual who's trying to give his best for its organization is actually directly or indirectly contributing to the economy and the standing of the
Larger
country.
ecosystem, basically. Yeah.
Exactly, the quantitative and the qualitative aspect of a country's economy gets showcased over there. So
True.
that so similarly, if you look at every MMB board member or the and talking, so each one has got this inherent desire that whatever happens, we should be the best. So
Wonderful.
if that is going to be the thought process and the starting point of it, then I don't need to say anything more. I mean, that's that we're going to end
I
this
could
one.
also gauge something like, your mantra of success around this. So, yes, truly agree and understand to what you're saying. And this concept of being the best and then kind of, relating it to the larger economy at whole was amazing. So, yes, we've had a wonderful, wonderful discussion. And thank you so much for this. All your insights have been really great. I'm sure all the listeners will be really, really benefited out of what they would be hearing, Mr. Ramaswamy. And thank you so much for joining us. It was really
Thanks a lot. My pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Hope to see you soon sometime.
same here.